Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here. We are back with another video. Now, in this video, guys, we'll be talking about some Formula One news that has been happening in the past couple months. As you guys know, when it comes to F1, the 2020 champion and the 2020 Constructors champions was Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. But what we're going to be talking about today is why I think Lewis Hamilton will obviously sign the new contract. Because as of recording right now, there's only one driver in the whole of Formula One that hasn't signed on for the 2021 season. The 2021 season is supposed to begin in March/April because Bahrain is going to be the first race. Now that Australia has been postponed to really later in the season because of Australia's restrictions. But the fact that it's only Lewis Hamilton, the champion from last year, that is the only person that hasn't signed. It's understandable because Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton's kind of in the spot to up until a certain point last year, Lewis Hamilton all the power when it came to his new Mercedes contract, but now Mercedes can really, if Mercedes want to shock the world, they can really do something, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Alright, so when it comes to Mercedes, obviously Lewis Hamilton was a 2020 champion from last year. But if you guys remember, there was one race, the second Bahrain race, which Lewis Hamilton just missed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the guy that replaced him is George Russell. Now, in my 2022 predictions, I said that George Russell would end up replacing Valtteri Bottas in the 2022 season. There's a possibility that could happen in 2021. Because with the way that George Russell performed in that weekend, outrunning Valtteri Bottas, and I did say this, if George Russell does perform over Valtteri Bottas in that race, George Russell is going to be looking good for 2021. Now, of course, Mercedes have already signed Valtteri Bottas to a one-year contract, so they can't really, they could, if they really wanted to, they could rescind that contract because, come on, they're Mercedes. They're the Constructors champions. A lot of people will be upset about it because he offered Bottas a one-year contract, but considering that it's Russell to replace him, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Between George Russell and Valtteri Bottas, who's the biggest challenger to Lewis Hamilton? It's George Russell. George Russell outdrove Valtteri Bottas in the second Bahrain race. And the thing is, if George Russell did not have any bad luck, George Russell would have picked up his first points by now because he should have done that last year in 2020. He should have picked up his first career victory in Mercedes, and he would have done all of that. Well, the points would have came earlier. The points would have came in two different sections, while he was with Williams and while he was with Mercedes, obviously. But due to some bad luck, he did not beat Bottas, he did not get points, and he did not win his first race. Had bad luck not happened in that race, he would have done all three. He would have beat Bottas, he would have won the race, and he would have scored his first points, all with Mercedes in his debut weekend for Mercedes. And the fact that he's only driven that car one time throughout the whole of that 2020 year, and he outpaced Bottas in that race, just proves that George Russell, when he gets to Mercedes seat, he's going to be really, really good. And that's why when it comes to Lewis Hamilton's new contract, Lewis Hamilton missing that one race, Lewis Hamilton's not in the power because of how George Russell performed. George Russell performed very, very well to the point where Mercedes can basically say, we don't really need to offer you this amount of money that you really want because we have George Russell who can come in and do good in the car, possibly on the same level as Lewis Hamilton. Now, obviously, Lewis Hamilton's one of the greatest of all time, so George Russell's not going to be able to perform that well as Lewis Hamilton, but he can still perform very well, better than Bottas, and still give him a good shot at winning the championship next year. And I'll get into my championship predictions in a later video. But George Russell, there's a very good option that Mercedes could possibly go with George Russell for the 2021 season. Now, that's definitely not going to happen because Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton have been together since the 2012 season where Lewis Hamilton left to replace Michael Schumacher. And funny enough, Lewis Hamilton has equaled all these Michael Schumacher records with Mercedes, who he replaced Michael Schumacher. So that's kind of funny with this, but considering the fact that Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton have always had a great relationship for the 8 to 9 years that they've been together, I just really doubt that Mercedes is going to let Lewis Hamilton go, especially if it comes down to money, especially since they just got a new partner into the team with Ineos, I think that's the name of the team. I forgot how you pronounce it, but with them becoming like a part of the team, like buying a stake in the team, they said that they'd be willing to pay Lewis a big portion of Lewis Hamilton's new contract that he does want for the season. Now, will Lewis Hamilton sign a multi-year deal, or will it be only a 1-year deal? Because you guys remember the 2022 regulations is coming up for the 2022 seasons, and if Lewis Hamilton does end up signing a 1-year deal, if Lewis Hamilton ends up winning the championship, winning a whole bunch of races, there's a possibility that Lewis Hamilton could end up retiring by the end of the 2021 season. And then the Mercedes lineup would be a whole lot different, because if Lewis Hamilton were to retire at the end of the 2021 season, that would open up the door for Max Verstappen. Imagine the pairing of Max Verstappen and George Russell. That's pretty much unbeatable. I'm not even gonna lie, because Max Verstappen, he's one of the greatest F1 drivers. He's one of the best F1 drivers currently. George Russell is one of the best upcoming drivers in Formula One. So having those two drivers in the same team with that Mercedes team, if they're going to stay on the level that they are right now, that would just be absolutely amazing, because there's not really much for Lewis Hamilton to accomplish in F1 so far. I think the only thing left for him to do is beat Michael Schumacher's record of championships, and right now he's tied on 7. So if he were to win the 2021 championship, that means he would be probably the greatest F1 driver of all time, because he's beaten every Michael Schumacher record that there is. So we would have to really call Lewis Hamilton the greatest F1 driver of all time. He's already called Sir Lewis Hamilton. He's already received knighthood, and he hasn't even retired from Formula One. But in terms of his contract situation with Mercedes, I don't really see anything really changing with him and Mercedes. I see him and Mercedes sticking together. They're going to eventually sign a new deal, because their relationship hasn't been very good. Him and Toto Wolff have a very good relationship, and I don't really see anything changing with that, because if you have a good relationship with a team, you'll be able to work something out. And plus, considering the fact that he's won 5 consecutive championships with Mercedes, yeah, that's going to be a big part of the reason why Lewis Hamilton ends up staying with the Mercedes for the 2021 season. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please do smash the like button. I'll be posting more sports content for you guys to see in the coming days, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification so you know my videos go live. And also, guys, I will be announcing something that has to do with NASCAR coming up in the coming days, so make sure you check that out on the channel. But anyway, guys, like I said before, I will see you guys all later with another video. Peace.